Hey machine knitters, I'm super excited to show you this project today. Have you ever had a project fall off of your machine? You're like, well, what do I do next? I was 200 rows in and now I have to start all over. Are you kidding me? Or you got to the end of the project, you took it off your machine and you're like, wait, I didn't decrease right. Or some other mistake. It happens all the time, even to the best of us, especially to moms with 6 kids that keep interrupting it. I want to show you today what I use to put my knitting back on my machine so that I could fix my mistakes. But before that, I'm excited to share with you our first 5-day sweater challenge. Now this is basically a knit along with video tutorials and exactly what you'll need to make your very first sweater. I know you guys can do it, and I know it's a big step in machine knitting. So if you've never knit a sweater before, you are seriously going to want to check this out. Make sure you join our sweater challenge because it starts Monday. And if you're watching this after Monday, still check it out because you can join late. You can catch up or you can just take your time with it. And what's so exciting about this pattern is that you can use any machine, so mid-gauge standard or a bulky machine. I knit mine on a bulky, and you can use any yarn you'd like. So if this is your first sweater and you just want to use some cheap yarn or some yarn that you have laying around in your stash, then you can use any yarn you would like. So check that out at loveyourknittingmachine.com/sweater challenge. And I hope you join us for that this week. Now, in order to put your work back on your machine, I am using a garter bar. You'll see that this has grooves on one side. I don't know if you can tell that there's actual grooves in here. And then the other side is kind of a bump. So this is a raised bump on this side and grooves on the other side. And you may be able to get along with one piece, or you might have to just connect yours together. I did this decreasing wrong on the side of my sweater, so I want to put it back on my machine. I am just going to put all of my stitches back on to here. Now this isn't going to be super easy because you have to stretch it out as you go. And I'm just using the purl bumps as a guide, and then once it's back on the machine, then I will just be able to unravel to these stitches. You can see I have this waste yarn, so I can just unravel it. So now I have it all on my garter, and I am going to start unraveling all my stitches. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. Yeah, I want to make sure I get down to those stitches on the garter bar so that it's easier to put back on the machine. So as you unravel more, you can tell if you've missed something, missed a stitch, especially towards the edge, and then you can fix it. So I'm ready to put this on the machine now. I do still have loops on here, but I'm going to wait to rip those out until after it's on the machine, just in case I have something a little bit messed up here. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I have the purl side facing me. So I don't need a line in my sweater that switches. And I'm just going to stuff all my fabric down. So I'm going to pull all of my needles out, and then I'm going to hook the ends of the garter bar right onto my needles. And I'll have to fix a needle here or there just to make sure that it's hooked on. So now I can just pull my work back onto my needles. All of the stitches will match up, and it can be a little tricky. It probably would have been easier if I had flipped the garter bar when I started and had the grooves facing up when I was putting it on the garter bar. So I will have to still fix a few of my stitches. I'll pull out another row or two just to make sure that everything lines up the way it should. So if you try this, let me know if that works better for you and what you think of this technique in the comments down below. So I hope this tip helped you out in maybe fixing those projects that didn't go quite the way you planned. And make sure you give your knitting machine some love this week.